This Use It Up, Make It Do segment deals with using up some chlorine that was used to disinfect the water system at the teaching farm. We used a pool chlorine that is about twice as strong as household bleach, and we needed about 3 gallons of this to disinfect our system. Once the system has been disinfected, then you have to rinse the system to get rid of this very strong chlorine solution and make the water drinkable again. And we'll be describing how we use that chlorine for a number of projects. We first took about 10 gallons of it and collected the highest concentrated material, set it aside, and I'll be using that at home to treat my swimming pool. The next part, we then collected about 30 gallons that we're going to be using to wash the mobile home at the teaching farm. We've collected the chlorine wash in 5-gallon buckets, and this is what we'll be using to wash the mobile home. As you can see, the washing process brought out some rust out of the pipes as well as that came along with the chlorine solution. This chlorine solution is roughly the equivalent to about a 3 or 4% solution of household bleach, which is ideal for washing a mobile home. This is what the mobile home looked like before we began their washing process. Here X is hosing it down, still with some of the rinse water that has too much chlorine to be actually used in the home. And once he wets it down, he'll begin scrubbing with the more concentrated chlorine solution that we saw a few minutes ago in the bucket. At this point, it's mostly plain old elbow grease with the aid of the chlorine, knocking out the algae that have grown on the side of the mobile home and also some of the lichens. It's interesting, in this case we have lichens that have grown on the mobile home, and unfortunately they don't come off all together, they leave a stain. So the washing is really preliminary to painting. And now you can see the rinsing gets rid of the algae that has been scrubbed. Here's the finished product. You can see the mobile home behind the tree there. You can see those lichen stains that I mentioned earlier. But here we've effectively used up the chlorine solution that came out of the process of disinfecting the water system for the teaching farm. As part of the flushing system, once we have the most concentrated chlorine out of the system, we still have too high a chlorine to actually use the water in the homes. So while we're flushing the system, we're collecting that water into our rainwater collection pool, and we'll be able to use that on the garden as irrigation water in a couple of days. In this Use It Up, Make It Do session, we've talked about how we were able to salvage some of the chlorine that we used to disinfect the water system at the teaching farm. We've used it not only to chlorinate a swimming pool, but also to wash the mobile home. We also were able to save the water used in the rinsing process of the system. We saved somewhere around 600 gallons of water that went into our pool that we'll now be able to use to irrigate the garden when it's needed. And saving this water is equivalent of saving somewhere between 5 and 10 kilowatts of energy that was required to pump it out of the ground.